Actually, I'm not as old as some of the people who have much more direct experience with the reality and the myth of Walter Cronkite. But I was in sixth grade when he retired. But I am old enough to remember being in my pajamas in the early '70s, playing with trucks on the floor and seeing those helicopters swirling over the jungle canopy and hearing that voice, that was sort of the nightly narration. So yeah, when I began this project with Walter and worked on the script over many months, and then we finally walked into his office, it was certainly with some nervousness that I walked down the hallway toward that voice.
Give me an idea of what that first encounter was like. Yeah, you knew him as the myth, you knew him as the, this bigger-than-life man, but then when you saw him and you're now face-to-face, were your knees knocking? Give me an idea of what kind of butterflies you had in you.
Oh, yeah, I was certainly shaking in my boots. We had some contact with him over the months before that I started to feel pretty comfortable with who he was. He was really behind the script and worked with us in a very detailed way to shape it into something that he'd be proud of. So I really admired that, because a lot of people that would, a lot of people as famous as he who would donate their narration to a project like this.
Do you know how it even came about, by the way? How you were able to convince him, to depart from news and be the voice in this documentary?
Yeah. Well, there was a producer on staff who had a friend of a friend who knew that Walter was crazy about wireless radio, and so we knew someone that knew him, and basically got the word out to him that we were doing a documentary about wireless radio, and this sort of this untold story, and he accepted right away, to my complete and utter shock. But I went into New York with several of the crew members, and we were ushered up to his floor at CBS, and it hardly looked like the office of a retired man. I must say, it was just like any working professional. And,
really, you meaning it just seemed very down to earth, very ordinary, even?
No, it was pretty intimidating. We walked, and it's right in the center of Manhattan, and he has a whole floor. And his staff was extraordinarily professional and dedicated to him, and they worked around the clock. This was not a man that was mothballed yet. So when we walk down the hallway and you hear that voice, your first reaction is that someone's left the TV on.
That booming voice, Chris Seufert.
And when we walked in,
when
we walked in, it was quite the opposite. And he was not intimidating at all.
Oh, that's lovely. Well, thanks so much for sharing your experiences and having this brush with greatness, the greatness of Walter Cronkite. Thanks so much.